So this video is going to talk to you about an in-depth examination of an SOL test essay and the scoring rubric. I'm going to show you an actual essay that responds to an SOL prompt, and we're going to talk about what's good about it and what needs to be revised, and hopefully this will help you as you get ready to write your essay. Okay, so up here we have the prompt, and it says civil rights leader Mahatma Gandhi wrote, "Be the change you want to see in the world. What is one way you would like to change the world, and how can you help bring about this change? Use specific details and examples in your response." So, if you look right here in what we have bolded, this is what they're asking you to do, to write about one way that you would like to change the world and how you could help bring about the change. And they want you to use the specific details and examples. Okay, so here is this writer's response. The thing I would like to change in the world would be world hunger. World hunger is a big problem in all countries in the world. They have citizens die every day. Now, we are not going to talk about usage and mechanics right now. We're going to just talk about the content, the composing, and written expression of the paper. So here is the thesis statement. So the one thing this person wants to change is world hunger. Clear position, but how could you be specific, more specific than saying world hunger is a big problem? Why is it a problem? And we also need a stronger introduction that would include your plan for the paper. What are ways that you believe you could bring about a change in the world? They, notice the word they in the last sentence. Who are you referring to? Now, there are a couple things that you have left out, such as your attention getter. There is not one. You only have 3 sentences here. And you really haven't addressed the prompt. And this prompt is really nice in that it gives you this little quote here. And anytime they give you a quote, that is a good way for you to address the prompt and have a good attention getter, because you can actually use the quote in your paper. Alright, so here is one of the body paragraphs, and notice that, let's read it first. Millions die every year from hunger and lack of water. Some of the people in other countries can't afford food. When people can't afford food, they go to places to get free food, but those places can't feed every person that comes to get free food. Okay, so the first sentence repeats what we've already said, that we already know that people die every year from hunger. You said that in your introduction. So you need to have a transition word maybe that you could connect to the first paragraph, such as maybe, I don't know, as previously stated. You could say that. Or, you could just say it in a different way. You could also look at your specific details on the types of places that people can go to get food and why those places can't feed everyone. So you talked about places, but what kinds of places are you talking about? You need to think about where people go to get free food, soup kitchens or churches or charity organizations or wherever you can think of. Alright, so you've started talking about a solution. Okay, you could combine paragraphs 2 and 3 and add details to support your position. Okay, so there's our prompt. We're going to go back. Okay, now in this paragraph, let's read it. I help by donating cans to the food drive at our local schools and giving money to the nonprofit organizations who just collect stuff for hunger. So next time when you see one of these stands, donate, give money on give some non-perishable food to the drive. Okay, well, clearly some usage problems here, but let's talk about the content. So your focus shifts here from how you can change world hunger to telling others what to do. Think about rewriting this last sentence to reflect what you can do. This is more of something, this sentence here is more of something that would be in a conclusion because you're doing a call to action. But here we want to talk about what you could do. Here's what I can do. So I can help by donating cans to the food drive. I can give money to nonprofit organizations. You could even do something specific for your community. What do you know about that's already going on in your community that you could be a part of? That's how you can make it more specific. Make it unique to you. Notice the wording of the paragraph is vague. Make sure you have specific words. Again, anytime you can make it about you, your specific community, your specific life experiences you have had is going to make for a better essay. Okay, you don't just have to donate one thing if you think, that should be think, there is a better cause out there to go for it. If you want the world to change, you are who it starts with you. You can start a project by yourself for a cause, and when you do, get your friends and family involved. Now, first of all, just notice how by me reading it out loud, I noticed many different usage errors. Just a little side note, when you're sitting there reading your essay, read it very carefully. You're not going to be able to read it out loud, but read it very carefully, even mouth the words to yourself, so that you can pick up on some of these errors that you may not pick up just by glancing at it. Okay, again, this paragraph shifts away from the purpose and the focus of the paper. Okay, let's go back and review what the purpose and the focus is. One way you'd like to change the world and how you can bring about this change. You'd like to change the world hunger issue and how you're going to bring about that change. Here, you're getting too vague. You're talking about all the things in the world that can make the world a better place. You've got to focus on world hunger because that's your issue. So, in this paragraph, you really need another way that you can bring about change to the problem of world hunger. So again, think about what you can do. Can you set up an event? Can you get your school involved? What can you do for this particular cause and not just some general cause? All right, so here's our conclusion. So next time you see something to donate, do it. It will help, and change starts with you. If we can get family and friends to donate, we will have more than enough food to go around. So this is an attempt at a conclusion. But notice that a stronger way to close is to summarize your idea for solving world hunger and not starting with the word so. So we can have a better transition word. The paragraph has too much repetition of what you've already said. Look at your wording and try to find more specific words to make your concluding points. Remember that your conclusion's goal is to restate your ideas in a different way. You've got to remind your reader of the ways you can change the problem you have chosen. So in this case, of world hunger. So if you haven't, in this case, this person hasn't really had 3 reasons or 3 ways that he could change world hunger, so that's a problem. That's why the conclusion is weak. Restate those ways. Restate the reasons that you have already stated in your first paragraph or your second paragraph or your third paragraph. The other thing you can do in your conclusion is go back to your introduction. This one had a quote. Go back to the quote. So as Mahatma Gandhi said, be the change you want to see. By doing these things, I could be the change and eliminate world hunger. So that's something that you could do that would really make for a strong conclusion. All right, now let's look at the rubric. Now this is just on composing and written expression. Notice that there are 6 different categories or domains that they are going to be looking at, and there is a top score of 4 in each of those domains. So 4 is what you want to shoot for. You want to stay in this left-hand column here. But notice that this writer, where we've highlighted, has got some issues. Where you see the most highlighted areas, that is probably where your writer would end up. Notice the central idea is inconsistent focus. Under organization, we've got inconsistent organizational plan, lack of unity. Under evidence, we've got limited elaboration or examples. That is a biggie. Ideas may be a list. We've got few details. Under conclusion, notice conclusion has its own separate category. Weak conclusion. The flow. Now, the flow of the paper is all about your transition of ideas, your modifiers, your purposeful sentence variety, different kinds of sentences. And notice that this one has an uneven rhythmic flow, limited sentence variety, repetitive sentence patterns. So really think about how you're starting your sentences, how you're ending your sentences, what kinds of sentences you have. Your word choice. Notice again, limited word choice, descriptive language, or selective information. So this person does not have good word choice. So my suggestion to you would be to scan over all of the things you see in this 4 column, because those are the things that you are going to want to make sure you do. So you may want to pause the video and just really look over these level 4 characteristics, because that's what you're going to want to do. All right. Now, just very quickly, I wanted to look at something for usage and mechanics. And at the top, I have a little paper that you'll want to read. I'm not going to read it to you. But down at the bottom, you'll see the score in usage and mechanics and why this person has a score. So this person got a score of 3, which is a respectable score for usage and mechanics. Notice at the bottom, I'm not going to read this part to you, but you can go back and read why the person got a 3. The errors across the feature, which is usage and mechanic, demonstrate reasonable but not consistent control of the usage and mechanics domain, warranting a score point of 3. Okay? So this person, let me erase that so you can read it. This person, while it wasn't horrible, it was not consistent control. That's what they're looking for. So if you wanted a 4 in usage and mechanics, you've got to demonstrate reasonable and consistent control over the feature. So you may want to pause this, read the essay, and then read the score. Now this is a score point of 4 in usage and mechanics. And notice that the consistent, and notice that it says, though not necessarily perfect control. They realize that you may not be perfect in your situation with usage and mechanics. They're looking for consistent control. So on the whole, this person understands punctuation, capitalization, spelling rules. So you may want to pause, read the essay, read what it has to say about the usage and mechanics domain for this paper. And then finally, just to show you the other end of the spectrum, I didn't pick a 1 because it was ridiculous, but I wanted to show you a 2. Notice that it says the density and variety of errors in features of the usage and mechanics domain outweigh what is done correctly. So a score of 1 or 2 in usage and mechanics, what that means is that there are so many errors that it distracts from the reading of the paper, and it's hard for them to get to your content because they are distracted by your errors. So that's something to think about. So look at this. This is a really short paper, but that's a different issue. But just look at the usage and mechanics domain, and you look at all the errors that they make in that area, and that will help you to see maybe what you don't want to do. So on all these little anchor papers here, you may want to pause the video, read the paper, and then read what it has to say about the score point so you can see what it is that you need to do and avoid doing to get the best score. So hopefully that shows you a little bit about what else you need to do on the essay paper, what the rubric's going to look like, and what they're looking for so that you can get a 4 and do the best that you can possibly do. Good luck!